Washington mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 will remind you that the WMAL Mornings on the Mall Swing State Roadshow makes its second stop in Virginia on Friday. We'll be broadcasting live from 5 to 9 at the McLean Family Restaurant, 1321 Chainbridge Road. Doors open at 6. A member of the Romney clan will be in attendance, I am told. Good food, great guests, and you. Join us at the McLean Family Restaurant. That's 1321 Chainbridge Road, Friday. Doors open at 6. Hope to see you there.
KT McFarland, Fox News national security analyst, host of FoxNews.com's DEFCON 3 show, 2 o'clock today. You can check her out on live.foxnews.com. Joins us now. Good morning, KT. How are you?
Good morning.
So there have been, this thing with Libya and Benghazi smells worse and worse every single day.
And it will. I think it gets even worse.
Okay, so now we're hearing ABC reports that, hey, the State Department says there was nothing going on outside the consulate beforehand. The Washington Post says this morning that the State Department concluded that there was a great risk of violence to diplomats in Benghazi months before 9/11, and that they even approved a 30% danger pay to people who were working over there. Mm-hmm. So they knew that this was a problem area. They knew that there could be violence, and there's also evidence now, people have testified to say that not only did they decide not to give them more security, but they actually took some of the security away. This is just unbelievable.
It's criminal negligence. Initially, it basically boils down to 3 things. Additional security was asked for, and security was denied. As a result, Americans died. And then the administration has lied. And I don't know how you get around it. I was in the White House during Watergate, and I was at the Pentagon during the Iran-Contra. And, these cover-ups have a predictable pattern. A policy misfires. Then the White House acts to protect the president from any political fallout, and especially in an election year. So they throw a lot of dust up in the air. So it's not clear what happened and who's at fault. And then when the dust settles, the White House says, well, whatever it is, it's not our fault, and they start casting blame. In this case, first it was the video, then it was the intelligence community, now it's the State Department, and then it never works because eventually those career civil servants crawl out from the woodwork and they turn whistleblower anonymously and then on the record. And that's what you're starting to see now, where people from the security community, the man who's going to testify today who is head of the security detail, former special forces guy, you're going to see the State Department come out and say, look, it wasn't our decision. And ultimately it probably wasn't their decision. You do not make a decision based on an ambassador of the United States reports directly to the Secretary of State and to the President. No GS-15 is going to overrule that ambassador's request for additional security.
Well, they're claiming that's what it indeed did happen. They sent a couple of notes saying, we got concerns here, and they didn't even get the email returned. There was no response to the email request that they have continued security at in Tripoli and Benghazi.
Yeah, and the thing is, in this day and age, there'll be a big paper trail for these requests, these documents, these denials. Where did it get referred to? Who was copied on the email? Did it go to anybody in the White House? So I think there'll be a drip, drip, drip of every day a little bit more information that's going to come out.
Now, they're going to apparently, one guess is that the Charlene Lamb is the one who apparently did not respond to the emails. She's going to testify today, and I'm almost certain that what she's going to say is, Congress, they were taking away our money. Is that fair?
For sure. No. No, because, if Congress was presented with something that says, look, will you give us the amount of money we need to buy the security that we need, that we deem desirable and required to protect our American overseas personnel? What do you think Congress is going to say?
I'll say yes.
This is the same Congress that votes for a bee museum in Maine. Yes, they're going to give it. I think that the interesting thing, though, was even the day that Susan Rice went out to testify for all those talk shows now a month ago, I scratched my head and said, why her? An ambassador to the United Nations doesn't have any responsibility for embassies. That's the Secretary of State. Doesn't have any responsibility for intelligence. That's the CIA. Doesn't have any responsibility for military defense of these facilities. That's the Defense Department. At a minimum, it's John Brennan in the White House, counterterrorism advisor. So why the Secretary? Why the UN ambassador? Well, I went and checked the public schedules. of all of those officials, they were all in town. Almost all of them. Any of them could have gone up and testified for talk show to talk show to talk show. I think they wouldn't touch it because they knew it was untrue.
That's exactly right. They didn't want to get up there and try and have to be required to say something that they didn't believe was right.
Exactly.
And
because now Susan Rice is, she's radioactive now. Her great ambitions of being Secretary of State after Hillary Clinton, I think, are pretty gone.
I'm sorry.
And she was the one who, whether she knowingly was the fall guy or whether she thought, well, I'll just, go out and fly the flag. This is what they want me to do. I mean, I don't know what her motivations are, but I think it's extremely suspicious that the 5 or 6 people who would have been responsible for this were nowhere to be seen.
But it is plausible that she just didn't have the information. She was just saying what was told to her.
Well, I'm sure she was saying what was told to her, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean...
so who told her to say that?
Right. That's the real question, as, who decided to give her this information, and why did they decide to give her that information and not somebody else?
Well, the questions that you want to see asked at this hearing today are the same ones that were in Watergate. What did they know? Mm-hmm. When did they know?
And
who knew about it? Who made the decisions? And in this case, ultimately resulted in the attack on U.S. soil and assassinations of Americans. And frankly, how high up did it go?
What do you think about the 3 security officers? We now know there are 3 security officers who survived the attack. I had not heard that before now. It may have been out there, but I didn't hear it. Will we hear from them eventually?
Yeah, and I talked to someone who has the head of a company that has security contractors in Libya and particularly in Benghazi, and he said, we knew that the situation was disintegrating. We knew that we were trying to get our guys out. And then the man told me that the night of September 11th, he was at a restaurant and his cell phone kept going crazy, and it was his people in Benghazi who said there's an attack on the American facilities. So not only did we make a mistake, we, the United States government, make a mistake in not giving them additional security, but once that attack started, why did we not send people in to rescue them? We didn't know they were all going to be killed. For all we knew, they were going to be taken hostage. For all we knew, there was a fight going on that we could have affected. Why did we not send in security assets that we had in the region, either from Tripoli or even in Benghazi? And why did we not then reinforce? Sicily's not that far away. We could have sent in NATO forces, U.S. forces based in Sicily.
Yeah. Inquiring minds.
Was that ambassador just expendable?
Yeah, and just hope we get the answers to those questions. KT, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks very much.